Yeah. Dun 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 dun. No, 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 no. Remember in Caddyshack 2 when Jack Cartoonian's trying to do the no, 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 and he's going no, 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 no.
Yeah, no, 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 no.
We just lost Jackie Mason fairly recently, didn't we? Within the last couple months.
Was it that recent? Yeah, I guess maybe.
And then, of course, Norm Macdonald recently. We mentioned that on episode 59. Welcome to episode 60. The special. It's a special. And as we do every 10, we're going to Q&A all up in this. But first we have breaking news. And that is that the Nubs variant has found its way to southeastern Michigan, apparently. Huh? Little COVID for you, buddy? Huh?
COVID-21.
Little COVID up in you? How'd that feel?
Yeah, that's why my voice sounds so glorious right now. I've been in quarantine battling COVID-21.
Well, you have confirmed the COVID 2024, I think, right now.
Yeah.
COVID 60 for episode 60.
Yeah. Just further proof that even two twins in an album is not immune.
No. No, you all think that we're some kind of invincible celebrities,
Yeah,
I mean, we're just normal folk like the rest of you, It
can happen to anyone,
So give us a little, what's it been like? Did you get super sick? Did you, what's it been like? I don't know. Maybe it's like the twin. I'm a little jealous. I kind of want to, in my curiosity. But did you get pretty sick, or what's the Nubs variant COVID report from you?
Yeah. So I believe my exposure this will be an interesting story, because my oldest daughter last year started playing hockey, and it's been a blast being part of that whole thing. So she was like, "Hey, Dad, you should join a team and get into it." So I was like, "Okay, great, sounds good." So during the pandemic, was looking into it, and then finally found an opportunity to play and got it. So, a couple of weeks back was my first game, and played and had fun. It felt like I was literally going to die on the ice. I was so tired. And like a few days later, got word that some dudes on the team had tested positive. I'm just like, oh crap.
Oh, great.
But like felt okay. But then it started kind of, started getting like allergy symptoms. And I thought, well, it's probably just allergies, because the season's changing here in Michigan. And then like started to think maybe my sense of smell was going. And then a few days ago, just like was cooking dinner, and like
you were making your famous stir fry.
I was making my famous stir fry.
Which has a lot of heat to it, right? So
yeah, it's very potent. Yes.
Yeah, there's unmistakable strong heat to the spicy Szechuan stir fry that you make, and so you basically couldn't smell it, and that was it. You knew you were.
Yeah, I was like, I'm sticking my nose right up to this, and I can't smell it.
That has to be so weird. Is it? It
was very weird. That's very weird. But it's like confirmation. It's like, okay, well, I got it. So then the next morning, went and got the test. The test wasn't as bad as everyone says. It was actually my first COVID test.
Was it really? See, I've had like 7 of them, and so they jammed the thing up your nose.
Yeah, but it wasn't that bad. She was exceptionally gentle, and then of course, tested
the guy with the rubber glove was surprisingly gentle.
Yeah. And they got the positive test, and then from there, it's a lot of fatigue. You're very tired. I've lost any semblance of physical condition that I had, and all the work on the Peloton now is like needs to be redone. And nothing major in terms of symptoms, just tired, and you feel like you kind of have the flu, and that's all being vaccinated too. So I'm not sure. The Nubs variant is attacks you in a different way, I think. So. Yeah.
Well, we were bouncing around, different alternatives as far as content and names for the podcast last week. Maybe, now we're just 2 twins and a virus.
Yeah, right. Yeah, exactly.
2 twins and a virus.
Exactly. So that's kind of that. It's I'm excited for it all to be over, but I have to be in quarantine for another week.
Ugh.
So that's part of it, is just kind of like stuck at home, you know.
Are you playing some drums, some electronic drums or anything? Like,
nope, haven't played at all.
Are you painting? I'm trying to think all the crap you've taken up in the last few years.
I've done a little bit of painting, but
why haven't you showed me any paintings lately? In fact, I don't know if you showed me any at all. If you guys remember, this is going back many episodes ago. You know, Nubs basically told all of you, our podcast audience, that he had taken up painting, you know, before he even told me. You know, Lord knows we talk all the time, and there would have been plenty of opportunity. Instead, we were probably talking about something really important, like
jogging.
Yeah, yeah, like our favorite scene in Animal House or something. I don't know. But, you know, I think we talked about it then. We haven't really talked about it since. I still have yet to, I think, see any of your work. So,
well, it's not like a pride point. You see, it's not. It's
well,
not
clearly
like,
not.
Hey, check these out. I mean, they're terrible.
So what are you doing with them? Are you just
I just really enjoy it. It's very therapeutic.
Yeah, but what do you do with the actual product when it's done? You just like put it away.
They're in my basement. Yeah, they're just
Are they on the wall?
No, they're not worthy of that.
So you just put them in like a closet or something? Like
or I just keep working on them. Like I don't have like an end goal. Like, I'm trying to draw like a bird or a house and then I'm finished. It's like, it's just a lot of different kind of, like experiments with color and seeing what blends. And it's really a therapeutic exercise more than anything.
I want you to draw a bird and a house.
Yeah, right.
And show them to us. You know,
it would be the worst bird and house you've ever seen, man.
I don't know. You always say you're bad at things and then you end up being like fairly good at them, you know?
Well, here's the thing with painting is I don't.
You get a lot of faux humility. Like you're like, I suck at it. And then you look at it, it's like, no, you're pretty good actually, man.
I think so. Well, I haven't taken any, like, I've watched like a couple YouTube videos on how to blend oil paints. Like that's all. I haven't taken any, like, put any thought into getting good at it. I just literally like having a canvas and some brushes and some paint and just kind of brushing along and seeing what happens. You know?
Hey, listen, as long as you're expressing yourself. Okay.
That's right, all. Man. That's right.
All about the art, brah. You know what I mean?
I'm excited to express ourselves here in the Q&A. We've had some good questions come in.
Well, should we get right into it? I mean, how do you want to, I've got a few, you've probably got a few. So you want to just go? I mean, we can just go. Yeah.
Why don't you kind of run the show today? Because my stamina is still a little lacking. So yeah, let's just take it away, man.
All right. Well, let's kick it off here. I've got quite a few. You've sent me a couple, so obviously feel free to chip in. But let's kick it off with other than Kate Bush and Stevie Nicks, who we've both mentioned before, I think as our I suppose sort of MILF level rock stars that we'd like to run away with someday. Who does Mrs. Nubs and Mrs. T need to be worried about if they knocked on the front door and said, "Take me now"? So what female rock and rollers besides Kate Bush and Stevie Nicks, have we had our eye on over time?
Well, and Stevie Nicks, let's make clear, is yours. I've never really understood that one.
Well, have you heard her voice? I mean,
I have.
Do you have ears? Did you lose your sense of hearing too?
Yeah, it's probably next. Yeah.
Well, you listen to her sing for about 10 seconds and you're telling me you're not, sweating, you're not flush faced. I mean, come on.
I spent a lot of the 90s and early 2000s making the case for Christine McVie over Stevie Nicks. I would kind of rather run away with her.
That Stevie. Is a take of yours. Not a bad take at all. I mean, listen, I would take McVie as a backup. And really, John McVie, I'd take over anything.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. John, take me away.
Yeah. But anyone else? Get the McVie thing? You've always been a little bit team McVie, which I disagree with, but understand. So,
yeah, for me, one of the ones that has been there a long time is Tori Amos.
Really?
Yeah.
See, she just does
such a thing for her.
She just does very little for me. No, I like her, her art.
Yeah.
I like her sound. But as far as like, sort of my heart going pitter patter when I see her, then I wouldn't say that happens with me.
She just like oozes a kind of sensuality. Musically, she's so, she's so talented and amazing. I think part of it too is when I was, we've made reference to when I was reviewing music and doing features, and I interviewed her when she was on it's like the Beekeeper album or something about Beekeeper. Maybe was it a record or a song or whatever. But anyway, and it was a strange and captivating conversation. I mean, she is truly that kind of out there.
Yeah.
I remember a few minutes and I'm thinking, oh, this is just some sort of character. And then it was like, no, she's actually this in her own universe. And that might have added to the allure.
I think it did, because Kate Bush is a little out there too. I mean, I think that may be kind of part of your thing, a little gal who's a little, sort of artistic and zany and out there.
Yeah.
And that way you guys can paint together, right? You can
do painting.
You probably show her your paintings, even though you won't show me them, right?
I'd rather show her than you. Yeah.
Well,
she'd probably see something in them. Yes.
I can't blame you for that. Can I just go with the entire trio of the ladies from Haim? I mean, can I just go all three?
Even the bass player who makes the funny faces.
Yeah, even the bass player that makes funny faces. I think, I just like to spend a weekend with all three, if that's okay.
Was Alanis Morissette ever on your list?
Oh, yeah.
I was a big fan of hers.
Big time Alanis supporter. Yeah.
You know what? You and I never
still
really.
Hot. She's still hot too. It's not that. Yeah. I mean, but I liked Army Boots Alanis. I liked Refined Alanis. I really liked Award Show Alanis. I mean, I think she can pull every different genre off of presentation. I'm
of hotness.
That's a very good
genre
call.
Of hotness.
Yeah. That's a very good call, actually. Big fan of hers.
You know who was never really on our list, and I'm kind of proud of this, was we never really got into because it would have been right in our wheelhouse, like the girl pop stars, the Britney Spears, Christina Aguilera.
Britney Spears. I don't know. I may have gotten pretty into Britney Spears.
Really?
Oh God.
Are you snake? Kidding? Yeah. Yeah.
Oh, but you're right about, Aguilera. Well, I also really like Jessica Simpson too, I must say.
Oh, yeah. I mean, definitely.
Yeah. So, yeah.
Although Aguilera. I like Nick Lachey too.
Yeah. Yeah.
Good Ohio boy. Yeah.
Watching that show of him and Jessica, I mean, part of the fun was obviously looking at Jessica Simpson, but also Nick Lachey, pretty cool dude.
Absolutely.
What do you think of Patti Smith?
Yeah.
What about Pat
Smythe?
What about Pat Bennett? Patti Smythe. Yeah. What about Pat Benatar?
No. I think that short hair thing or whatever. Yeah.
Oh, how about Debbie Harry for you?
Yeah, there was a phase. There was definitely a phase. Yeah. I do think some chicks with guitars too are really, I mean, Liz Phair at her time was pretty hot.
What about, good Lord, we're forgetting, what's her name from the Bangles?
Oh yeah, of course.
Susanna
Hoff.
Oh, good Lord.
Yeah. Oh yeah. Or like all of the Go-Go's, even like the nerdy ones.
The Go-Go's. Yeah. Yeah. That's fair.
Belinda Carlisle.
Of course I've told the famous story of hugging Gwen Stefani.
Yeah.
And I would say during the No Doubt era when she was like all athletic and fun and, bouncing around to ska music. She was pretty cute back then.
Yeah. In that era. Once she went all Hollywood, like most of them, it got pretty lame, but.
Yeah. Right. I'm telling you, Stevie Nicks, man,
Yeah.
I don't know.
I think a lot of it is that I'm just not a huge fan of her as a singer. I don't like her solo stuff at all. And
that's
Fleetwood Mac. I thought she was important, but not like the most important,
That's a ridiculous thing to say. Hey, let's go to another question. That was a good one. This is a good one. Nubs and Tea. What do we think of Maroon 5?
Oh, that is a good question.
Well, to me, there's sort of two Maroon 5s for those of us that actually sort of knew them before they started going real poppy. And that was that they were kind of a rock band, you know? Yeah, I've told this story before, I think, where I saw them at Irving Plaza and there were like 200 people there. It was, you know, right before Harder to Breathe hit. And of course, you know, right before This Love. I mean, I think that Adam Levine seems like a pretty good guy. The thing that I do like about them is that although I'm not sure how much of a quote unquote band they are anymore, it would have been really easy for Adam Levine to just go off on his own. I mean, it would have been simple because anymore they're basically writing their songs for them and collaborating with producers and, you know, whatever. And so it would have been terribly easy for him to do that. And while I'm sure the structure of the the sort of business element and creative elements are probably not, I wouldn't say all completely balanced and even, I do respect the fact that he's wanted to maintain it as a band, you know, and Jesse's been there since the beginning and all that. So I do respect that. I obviously hate the direction they've gone in many ways, because I actually thought their first two in particular records were quite good. I thought they were a pretty good band, but so I don't know. Now they're kind of a different deal altogether. But
I remember you calling me the night of that show, and your exact description of them, which I thought was really cool, was they're like a boy band melodically, but they play instruments.
Yeah.
You know, and I think that's a good description of kind of just their sound, whether that's, even if that's the earlier days where things were a little more raw and a little less overtly commercial. I mean, when they went into that Moves Like Jagger, I was like out and still, I mean, give me a break. That's got to be the worst song ever made.
It's really bad. But, you know, you pick apart their first couple of records and, you know, there's some good stuff there. But yeah, Moves Like Jagger and everything since has been kind of, well, I mean, there's a couple too, like I think Payphone's a pretty good song, like, you know, all in all. But some of the other stuff that's come out is just sucks. We got a lot of chicks questions for some reason this week. So what non-musical celebrity chicks did you guys have crushes on growing up in the 80s? Well, I had like a Cindy Crawford poster on my wall, so suppose she's in there. Did you have any like model? Like that was sort of the age of the supermodel, right? Like that was, you know, we kind of grew up during that time, really fancying Cindy Crawford with the mole on her cheek and all.
I remember that poster too, because she's,
if
I remember right, she's she's like wearing jean shorts and no top, but she's got her arms kind of around her, right? Like blocking any rated R view, keeping things really PG-13.
Blocking the boobies. Yeah, that's correct. That's exactly what it was.
Yeah. Right. And that's, I'll tell you a chick that I got way into, this isn't really 80s, but it is growing up, was I remember when Elizabeth Hurley was in the first Austin Powers movie.
Oh, okay.
I just thought she was the most beautiful, hot, gorgeous, you know, woman I'd ever seen in my life. At the time, it could have been true. I remember getting really kind of into her during that time for sure.
Sloane Peterson in Ferris Bueller. I was like,
huge
fan. Whatever happened to Sloane Peterson?
I don't know, man.
Kelly Bundy, for sure.
Yeah. You know, thinking 80s too. I think you got to go to The Shoe. You know, you think about Adventures in Babysitting and the Karate Kid and stuff.
That's a great call.
You got to go to The Shoe.
Cocktail. Cocktail is such a ridiculous movie, but she's great in that movie.
I think it's a really deep, well done piece of cinema. You don't think so?
Mia Sara is the name of of Sloane Peterson, by the way.
Oh, okay.
Cocktail, like who like read that script and was like, yeah, let's shoot this. I mean, good Lord. Yeah. Talk about a like Tom Cruise, like heat check. I mean, that just proved that you could have him do anything. Although that did have Gina Gershon in it, who's another time favorite.
How about MTV era Jenny McCarthy? with what was it? Blind Date? What was that show called?
Yeah, Blind Date. Yeah.
Remember how cute she was on that show?
Oh yeah. And funny too. You know, I got my picture with her and Donnie Wahlberg recently. It was like last year or something at a
nice
Brooklyn Nets game. I was there for work, and a few of us went to a Brooklyn Nets game, got really good seats, and they were right down the row.
Let me ask you this, T. Were you a Kelly Kapowski dude, or a Jesse Spano dude, or a Lisa Turtle dude? Because I remember you getting into a little film called Showgirls.
Yeah, well, I think I was more into Gershon on that particular film.
Oh, okay. Okay.
It's all right. I got towels. But I mean, I guess out of those, I don't know, can I go with Screech?
Yeah, you can go with Dustin Diamond.
Samuel Screech Powers. Yeah. I never really got into any of those three, I'll be honest. I mean, I guess Spano would have to, I mean, Turtle's great. You know, Turtle's great.
If you look back, Turtle was the hottest.
You know, it's like Turtle is hot. But you know, Lark Voorhees, who played Turtle, apparently, like, she ended up like going kind of nutso.
Oh, really?
Like, ended up being actually kind of like really difficult to work with and sort of insane, which is kind of funny. Lark Voorhees, you know. But she did do The Sprain, right? Remember The Sprain, the episode where she twists her ankle and can't participate in the dance competition, so she hops on one foot and calls it The Sprain and wins the competition.
Your Saved by the Bell knowledge is fabulous.
Is that just me that knows that one?
Well, I would say it's just you, but that's impressive that you do. I mean,
come on, Kelly, it's just some pot. Yeah. That was a great one too.
I'm so
I'm so excited. I'm so scared.
Yeah.
Classics. Those are classics. So, all right. And then we got another one chick related. Is there a song or a band you ever pretended to like for a girl? So in other words, you know, I guess this would also mean, did we ever like get dragged to a concert and had to pretend to like it? Or, I mean, I can think of, this is back a while ago, but one of my first girlfriends in high school was very into like all the angry girl music, you know, like Fiona Apple, and there's like some chick named Poe or something.
Oh yeah.
Poe. And I had to like sort of pretend to like, I don't know how good I was at pretending, but I think I at least tried. Most of that stuff kind of sucked. It was pretty formulaic back then. It was kind of like, you know, chicks just kind of wailing away. It was post Jagged Little Pill, and I think a lot of them were trying to run kind of a similar play, but be even more edgy.
I was probably too much of a music snob to ever get into that deal where you really kind of sacrifice your own musical ethics to please somebody.
Your gals kind of knew that if they ever presented something in front of you that you thought was bad, that they were screwed.
Right. There was definitely some of that.
I think it's like politics. Like they just were like, we just don't talk about music. Like, right. It's better if we just don't talk about it, you know?
My main girlfriend in high school, who was, you know, she was really, really cool, way ahead of her time in terms of music and a lot of taste. Like her top 3 favorite bands were like U2, Smashing Pumpkins, and Radiohead. And in fact, like one of our first times ever sort of actually hanging out was at the Radiohead show on the OK Computer tour in Detroit. So that kind of showed me early on that these things sort of matter. You know, it's like if you're on the same page with taste, that goes a long way. But I mean, that doesn't suck when you two Smashing Pumpkins and Radiohead are 3 pretty solid groups that you can connect with. Because as Rob Gordon in High Fidelity says, books, films, music, these things matter. And they do matter. Like if you don't like some of the same stuff, I think the whole thing becomes kind of what the question is asking, which is a big like, oh, you know, I'll go to this show with my eyes rolling and then I'll drag you to something you don't like to go to. And, you know, but yeah, I think I got pretty lucky early on in that way.
Yeah. What are some of you guys' favorite super wimpy / adult contemporary love songs that you legit like? I mean, there's a lot of these. So obviously, you know, the Barry Manilow episode was was pretty indicative that we have never really shied away from this sort of thing. So, the song by Adele, I Set Fire to the Rain. I mean, I really freaking like that song. We talked about Amy Grant. I have Amy Grant.
Yeah.
A couple of Amy Grant tunes, particularly Good for Me and Every Heartbeat and Love Will Find a Way. Those are really good.
There's a few that come to mind would be If Ever You're in My Arms Again by Pierre Bryson.
Oh, yeah.
Love that song.
Great song. What about On the Wings of Love, Jeffrey Osborne?
Definitely On the Wings of Love, Jeffrey Osborne.
I talked about the Postman song, Because I Love You by Stevie B, which is
yeah, you love the Postman.
Like one of my favorite songs of all time, actually.
Yeah. Another one for me for sure is it's a live version of Joe Cocker Live, but the live version of Up Where We Belong. He did this huge, loud, kind of more rocking, if you will, version of it on that Joe Cocker Live album. I love that song. It's great.
Yeah.
The studio version is a little wimpy, but the live version is really cool.
There's a song by Sheena Easton called You Could Have Been With Me. Do you know this one, Nubs?
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah. That one really gets me all broken up. Yeah. You know this one?
Yeah, I know it because I've heard you play it. Yeah.
Oh, you only know this from me? Oh, man. Gets you feeling it, doesn't it?
Sheena Easton was not that good a singer, by the way.
No. Very few of them were, I think, around that time.
Definitely some Chicago and Peter Cetera stuff.
Oh,
like Glory of Love and You're the Inspiration.
Hard Habit to Break and Will You Still Love Me?
I was just going to say, one of my favorite songs of all time, Will You Still Love Me?
Yeah. That song's amazing.
Like a perfectly written song. It's so sad that it's written by that dick, David Foster, who's such a good songwriter that people actually put up with him.
There were a lot of songs written by that dick,
Yeah, for sure.
What about Melissa Manchester doing a little "Don't cry out loud, just keep it inside. Learn how to hide your feelings. Fly high above." I mean, how about that one? No?
Yeah, I never really liked that one.
You're a loss. Meet Me Halfway by Kenny Loggins is a beautiful song. I love that song.
Yeah, that was really good.
Angel of the Morning? Anybody?
The Morning Angel?
Yeah, Juice Newton. Yeah.
How about Carly Simon, Coming Around Again?
Yeah, Coming Around Again's great.
That one's really good.
See, I'll go with you on that one. You wouldn't go with me on
Manchester?
My stupid one. But
I like Melissa Manchester's upbeat. You should hear how she talks about you. You should hear what you say. Yeah.
Hear what they say. You should hear how she talks about you. Yeah, that's a great.
Is it she or he? You should hear how he talks about you.
You should hear how she talks.
She. I don't know.
You should hear what they say.
That faux rock, from Melissa Manchester.
Yeah. It was almost like they, when like the, at some of the events when they really pick up the pace and the old folks start to come out and get a little boogie going.
Yeah. Yeah.
That's like the type of song that would really
boogie in the barn. Yeah.
Get you,
Yeah. Here you go.
Out of her head, you should hear how she talks. Ugh, that song's awesome. Nubs, did we talk much about, somebody asked a question about Charlie Watts and the Rolling Stones, and I think somebody wanted to know what we thought of Can't You Hear Me Knocking?
That's listener Billy Ray's, yeah.
Yeah, did we talk at all about Charlie Watts or anything? I mean, obviously, drummer, I don't know if you said anything about that or offered a take, but did you have any feels on the passing of Charlie Watts as a, rather, I guess, renowned drummer within rock history?
I think we did reference it. I don't remember if it was in an episode. We certainly talked about it because I think it led to a Ringo take. Yeah, it's a big deal just because original founding member of the Rolling Stones. And the fact that he put up with all of their nonsense for like 60 years, he put up with Keith and Mick and, different members coming out and some tragedy. And I mean, he was just kind of like the stabilizing force, it seemed like. And by all accounts, seemed like a super classy, cool guy. The thing I always remember about Charlie is he just looks so sharp all the time. Remember he was always like dressed really well.
Yeah, yeah, for sure.
And he had a real aversion to hitting the hi-hat and the snare at the same time.
He did. Why was that?
I don't know. It was like a style thing. It was kind of weird.
Toph, what other concerts do you remember? I think this is a reference to our James episode. What other concerts do you remember getting banned from by your dad? And what did you do to cause that? Nubs, did you ever get banned too?
Oh, I remember the big one. Let's see if you remember.
Well, I got banned from going to Sugar, which I was very upset about. I got banned during the Steppenwolf concert. Steppenwolf was opening for somebody that we didn't care about, but we really wanted to go to Steppenwolf.
Yeah.
Magic Carpet Ride mostly and Born to Be Wild and whatever.
Yeah.
And I remember I like mouthed off or something before the show. We were there like eating and I lipped off or something. And I had to stay with our dad up in the concourse while you guys went down and enjoyed Steppenwolf. That was a classic where I actually intra evening got banned from the concert.
There's a big one. I'll give you a hint. You ready?
Yeah.
The reason you couldn't go is because you got caught with, let's just say, some more adult oriented materials.
Yeah.
And your major punishment was not going to what was one of the hottest shows that was coming to the Palace of Auburn Hills.
I remember the incident, of course. I don't remember the band.
I'll just tell you the album that was being toured was called Janet.
Oh, Janet Jackson. I couldn't go to.
Yeah.
Oh.
You missed the Janet Jackson show, which by the way was amazing.
I'm sure it was great. I'm sure. And see that one didn't bother me as much as Sugar. It was really chapped my ass but I don't think to answer the second part, I don't think you ever got, you concerts were too important to you. I mean, as they were to me, but you were able to find a way, or you just pin whatever we had done on me, which happened from time to time too. But it was a
usable strategy. Yeah.
Yeah. I don't think you ever actually got banned from a show. Did you?
Never got banned. I came close once. There was an incident near the end of a summer where we were with our friends and we had gone to like a big dirt pile by the high school, the local high school. And we had jumped in it and got all clothes ruined and things before we were. See,
these are the wild things we would do.
We were really bad
large
kids.
Mounds of dirt, and then we would jump into it. That was about as crazy as it got.
And what was at stake and what did very temporarily get taken away was the Aerosmith Get a Grip show at the Palace.
Oh,
but I was able to. I remember I wrote a note of apology. I would have been devastated to miss that show.
To our dad, you wrote him a letter?
Yeah. I wrote him a letter to apologize, kind of admitted what I had done wrong.
Yeah.
And said, please just don't let me miss the concert. The irony of that era was I would always say, and I believed it, but it's funny looking back. I would always say, this might be the last time they come, This could be the last time Aerosmith ever comes at concert.
Exactly.
Because at that time, Aerosmith was considered like old.
Well, in your defense, I think they were on their first, farewell tour back at that time in 1994. Yeah, exactly.
Yeah. So, no, but it was reinstated. I was able to go see Aerosmith. I was really excited about that.
Toph, have you gotten over your anger at Brett Dennen? No, I haven't. I don't know if I will. Obviously this is in reference to his smash song See the World, which we talked about as a blatant ripoff. Actually related to that, Nubs, I know you've talked through this a couple times, but we did have a listener ask if you could just explain in further detail why you hate the Heartbreakers so much. which relates to Brent Dennon's complete ripoff. Brent Dennen of
yeah. So I hate the Heartbreakers because they're probably the most emotionless band I've ever heard in the way that they play. They're just very, very blah, very vanilla in their whole approach. None of them are outstanding musicians and any instrument. They really are not. And with Tom Petty's music, you need a little excitement. That's why when we saw him on the Wildflowers tour and he had that whole different band, it wasn't the Heartbreakers. It's a really exciting show because he had kind of more modern, more hip musicians with him. And then the couple times I've seen him with the Heartbreakers, it's been dreadfully boring because the Heartbreakers are just that. They're just a very boring band. So
would you sort of compare it to Oasis with Alan White versus Oasis with Starkey or with
Steve White?
Steve White. Is it sort of a similar, like they just play harder and more modern and more with more punch, and the Heartbreakers you feel like lack some of that punch because they're so classic and old, I guess?
That's exactly right. I mean, it's like a perfect description. I mean, most people go to shows to like hear the songs and sing along. And I'm just not that kind of music fan, right? Because as a musician, you're there to watch people play and get moved by talent and skill and inspiration and musicianship. And yeah, there's none of that with the Heartbreakers. I mean, when we saw him on the Wildflowers tour, Steve Ferrone was his drummer. And I mean, that is like a big old groove, fantastic drummer. And, he was in the Heartbreakers too, but with the other musicians, he really came out as better because he wasn't surrounded by all those other guys. So some of it is that, you play some of these people with new musicians too, and it brings out some of the best in them. I just think that it was a bad collection and they fed off each other in a really kind of lifeless sort of way. So yeah, just not a fan at all of the Heartbreakers.
Part of what makes it probably a little tricky is that, let's face it. I mean, Tom Petty was awesome. Huge fan, but nothing he did was terribly complex. So
right.
For a backing band, you're kind of standing there playing major chords. There really weren't a lot of like guitar solos, or it wasn't very dynamic. And that's part of what made Petty's music great. But I think asking a backing band to really be flashy with that kind of music, probably, Now, somebody had it's not really a question, but more of a trivia for you. So hands up, no Googling. What is Elton John's birth name? Go.
Reginald Denny.
Is that right?
I mean, look it up. I'm pretty sure it's right.
I know it's Reginald. Is it Reginald Denny, the guy who was part of the LA riots?
Oh, I'm sorry. Reginald Dwight. Yeah, you're right. I get my Reginald's messed up. Reginald Denny was, and what's funny because I just heard something about Reginald Denny. He was the dude. He's the dude who got pulled out of the truck and beat up. I'm sorry. Yeah. Reginald Dwight.
Yeah, Reginald Denny was the guy in the LA riots.
Like the brick hit over his head.
Who got like his head bashed in. Yeah.
Reginald Dwight, I think.
Reginald Dwight. Okay.
Look that up. Is that right?
Yeah, Reginald Dwight is correct. Okay. All right.
Yeah, the world's not full of that many Reginald D's, Yeah,
that's true. All right. Well, listen, I probably would have said Reginald Denny too. Okay. That's fine.
Yeah, there you go.
And you know what song Elton John sang, right? He's like, cold, cold heart, haunted by you. He did that one. Yeah.
Yeah.
It's an illusion, baby.
You love that 80s Elton John.
Well, I love Too Late for Zero, I think is like a great album.
It is a great album. Yeah.
Kiss the Bride. I want to kiss the bride. Yep. Yeah, I love all that upbeat pop, Elton John, Reginald Denny,
Reginald Denny. Yeah.
All right. You get 5 minutes with any artist. Who is it and what would you want to know? 5 minutes. This is different than like a long form. You get 5 minutes.
Is this dead or alive?
Yeah, let's go both.
Okay. Dead, my answer has always been and will continue to be Jimi Hendrix. I just
5 minutes with Jimmy though. How could you even? I mean, you could probably not get much out of him in an hour. He'd be so so out there, right?
There'd be something enlightening though. Go back and watch his, and I know it's longer form. It's a good constriction to put 5 minutes on, but go back and watch his conversations with Dick Cavett.
Oh, amazing. Yeah.
You know, he was
really
just so much soul, just so much. I don't know. He was such a special guy.
You could almost answer this question in an interesting way where it's somebody that you really respect and love, but that after more than 5 minutes might start to get on your nerves. You could answer it that way too. You know,
in that sense, with somebody alive, especially right now, I'd probably say Phil Collins, because I can't imagine. I think an hour with Phil Collins, I might leave feeling worse about Phil Collins than I did at the beginning. 5 minutes, I'm sure would be great. I bet he'd be charming and nice and all those things, but then he'd want to move on with his life. I don't think he would like sitting around just talking to a chap like me for an hour. So what do you got? Who's your dead?
Man, I don't know. I probably would love to talk to Peter Steele, and honestly, 5 minutes with him would probably be good because, after that, he'd probably just get bored or,
Yeah, kind of same as Phil,
He'd just start being
5 good minutes.
He'd just start being like, why do you like my music so much? Are you stupid? What's wrong with you?
Yeah.
I don't know. He's a tough guy to pick against. And alive, I mean, I would love 5 minutes with Brett Dennen, maybe in a dark alley.
You know what? He would steal someone else's conversation and copy it and bring it to
you. Yeah, that's right.
Yeah.
Honestly, I would love to spend some time with Trey Anastasio. I think he's a real fascinating guy, and I would love to know kind of what he thinks of the jam scene and the fan base, like things that he probably wouldn't say outwardly, but obviously being a very musical person and a very artistic person, I think he'd be fun to spend 5 minutes with, Dude,
everyone needs to go check out. There's this funny splice that somebody put together, which is a fish. I forgot which song it is. A fish song with a bunch of people that are at charismatic churches doing
it's like people that are doing that are speaking in tongues and freaking out and dancing. Right.
Yes.
And then you sent this to me. It's hilarious. And they match that up with some fish jams. Right.
Yeah. Isn't it great?
Yeah.
So funny.
It's very funny. Well, let's do a couple more. I mean, I think. All
right, see, I got a couple that came in. Here we go.
Go for it.
I think this is a good one. This good sparks.
I feel like I'm doing all the, the legwork here. So let's go.
So I think this one could spark some rather healthy debate. But the question is, who is the best and worst karaoke performer amongst the three brothers? So this is referring to you and I. And then older brother Scotty, who we've mentioned. So
who are the best to worst ranked, you mean?
Yes, in terms of karaoke.
Well, I don't know if I've ever heard him do karaoke.
That would probably put him as worst.
Yeah. I mean, have you heard him do it?
No, he's pretty serious about stuff like that. Like, I don't see him getting up and singing, like a
Sweet
Rupert
Caroline
Holmes jam or anything.
Yeah. I think Scotty's DQ'd. I don't know if I've ever heard him actually do it. Even that one night we went out to that Christmas karaoke pub in Nashville a few years ago. And even there, I don't remember him getting up and belting it out. Did he?
No.
Okay. So then I guess it's just mano y mano, huh? I mean,
I think so. Yeah. We've identified the worst.
Well, I mean, are we talking about who's like funnier or who's like better? Because those are two very different things. Like in other words, who's the better performance or who's the better singer?
Like, I think if anybody,
I'm the better singer, but that doesn't mean I'm the better karaoke performer, right?
I think if anyone was coming to watch us do karaoke to hear good vocals, that's probably not the criteria. I would say overall entertainment is probably the.
And we have done a few duets. We've done Girl, You Know It's True, I think. And we've done, what else have we done?
Gangsta's Paradise.
Gangsta's Paradise. Sure. Yeah. I mean, we play those in our acoustic sets, so that's nothing. I mean, karaoke, we both have done quite a bit of it. I think what I've heard, is that, My Africa by Toto, my On the Wings of Love, which we mentioned earlier, I do a pretty good, I guess that's why they call it the blues. It's kind of an early night sort of warm up. I've heard that those are unstoppable. So I don't see how yours could be ranked higher. But with that said, you've done some great work too. And you get up there and, you know, act like a jackass. It's great. I mean, it's perfect. So, you know, I mean.
So you would take your, guess that's why they call it the blues, your warm-up song over my Escape Pina Colada song.
Warm-ups. No, I think your Escape's probably better than my Call It the Blues. Yeah.
And then my late night rebel rouser is Brightside.
Yeah.
I don't know how effective that would be now.
I think my Africa is better than your Brightside, but your Escape is better than my, you know, sort of B level. So maybe it's a draw. We have a draw. And
may it be said that neither one of us hold a candle to Chili, you know, the greatest karaoke performer in our circle, who I think is ready for a comeback, by the way.
We've seen some pretty amazing things in terms of, you know, intra-group and even external group karaoke performances, you know.
Okay, here's another one. So this says, you know, you guys have talked about the lost art of the album. What are some of the criteria you look for in a good album, aside from the obvious?
Well, we've talked about, I mean, in the James episode, we talked about bookends. I think any record that has a really strong track one and then either a strong or appropriate closing track. We've talked quite a bit during past episodes about, you know, having an appropriate closing track. Doesn't need to be great, doesn't need to set the world on fire or be a single or any of that, but it just needs to wrap the album in appropriate fashion, right? So, I mean, I think that's key. And obviously, if you're going to put, you know, in our criteria, if you're going to put a record on the turntable, you know, it's got to have a strong middle. I think what you see often is that, you know, records tend to sort of lag a little bit, either, you know, end of side one or even beginning of side two in some cases. So if you're able to produce a strong middle with good bookends, I mean, automatically that's going to put an album into the conversation of, you know, something that should be certainly in the collection or even on the turntable as we've deemed it. But I'm sure you got thoughts on that one, Nub, particularly being a consumer of the vinyl long play. So what do you think?
Yeah, no, I like the idea there of just sequence in general. We've talked so much about sequence, but the number one thing that comes to mind is just cohesion between the sleeve design, the title, you know, the era that it comes from, certainly the music and the sequence. Everything needs to be working together as one, all of these elements. And that's when you have great albums, in my opinion. So it just comes down to just a cohesive effort. I think when you look at like things like Dark Side of the Moon, I mean, that album, it doesn't make sense that album was as popular as it was. It doesn't. There's nothing commercial about it. But at the time, it was far and away the most cohesive top to bottom record that anyone has ever seen or heard in every way. You could say Sgt. Pepper Pet Sounds too before it, but I mean, Dark Side had this special cohesion to it that, you know, wasn't matched before and maybe hasn't been thoroughly matched since. And that's what everyone keeps working towards. So I think that's the biggest key.
I've got just a couple very quick ones to wrap up here, Nub. What are you guys' favorite sports? And what sports do you enjoy or teams do you enjoy that we would not expect? So I assume like what besides like football and basketball and baseball? Well, we both follow Romanian soccer very closely. You know, our family background, particularly on our mom's side, is Romanian in its heritage. And it's something that we've always been pretty fascinated with and enjoy as part of our sort of ethnicity and family heritage. And so I think following the Romanian national team in soccer is something that we do pretty closely as far as, you know, World Cup participation, Euro Cup participation, those type of things. Every single week, I tune into the NHRA drag racing. So that's the, you know, Top Fuel, Funny Car, Pro Stock, you know, sort of where they go down the track and go from 0 to 300 miles per hour in 4 seconds. That's sometimes it's on Fox. It's often on FS1, but I watch that every week. So I'm very into the NHRA drag racing, and then I'm into, I'm getting more into outdoor stuff, hunting and fishing and that sort of thing. I like to do a little shooting with targets and skeet and trap. And so I've certainly tuned into more of those. Makes me feel kind of old and rugged, but I've tuned into that stuff. It's been a good kind of learn for me the last few years. So those things come to mind for me. Now, have you got anything? You watch lacrosse or cornhole or any of that stuff?
No. I've watched cornhole for a few minutes. It's amazing how good those guys are. So much better than I am.
Apparently the key, I've watched it too. The key is getting, how they kind of spin the bag.
Yeah.
Getting it to land flat. That's like Correct. The trick, apparently. But
it's true. And I can't do that at all. So, we both follow our schools. Ohio State for me and Kansas for you. We both follow our schools. And what I like about us is we follow each other's schools too. I think that's a cool thing that we do. Oh, yeah. And then of course, all the Detroit professional teams, but one that would be more under the radar for me would be, I follow the Columbus Crew pretty closely, the MLS team, because that team is actually formed right before I got to Columbus for my freshman year. And I went to a bunch of games there and have since just kind of stayed in touch. And there's like nobody else to really talk about it with, so I don't broadcast it a lot. And the Crew won the MLS Cup last year, which is a huge deal because the franchise had gone through some turmoil. They were actually thinking about leaving Columbus for a period of time. So that was a really cool moment. So that's probably the under the radar thing. Of course, the Romanian soccer, Romanian women's gymnastics in the Olympics. Yeah, is cool for us. And but I just I love sport so much. I'll pretty much watch anything.
The Detroit Red Wings are probably the only team that we both support at the same level, because I'm not really into the other Detroit teams, whereas you are. I got into the Kansas City teams in terms of Chiefs, Royals, that sort of thing. But the Red Wings are the ones that we can always shout together on that one. For better, for worse of late.
Yes, much worse.
Nubs, care to give your 30 seconds on what's wrong with Ohio State football? Go ahead.
Jeez. A lot at the moment. And when you have a culture within your program where defense is not valued, it comes through on the field. And so this program better make a quick change as briskly as possible to make sure that they understand that there's two sides of the football. And while one of them looks more than competent, looks outstanding, the other one is equally important when it comes to winning games and winning championships. You can't just pretend like that side doesn't exist and expect the utmost in productivity and focus from that side. So, and that starts at the top, and hopefully that will change very quickly. So that's my take on it right now too.
Hard to argue with any of that. Your sound quality is so good. Well, thank you. What mics do you use? And Toph, what do you use to edit? We both use Shure SM7Bs. I think you do too. Yep. You do too.
Yep.
And we route those through a cloud lifter, and we both actually use Scarlett audio interfaces.
Is there any other kind?
And I use to edit the episodes, I use Logic Pro X. So there you go.
Hey, T, I got one for you that I better ask because it came from the person that I share walls with.
Oh,
Mrs. Nubs.
Yeah.
So Mrs. Nubs wants to know, and I think this is more for you because she hears this crap from me all the time.
Yeah.
But her question is, T, what are your thoughts on the K-pop factory, i.e. BTS, Red Velvet, and Blackpink?
I don't know any of those. So the K-pop thing is the thing that comes from Asia, right? And it's like is it like a boy band, like a kid band type thing from Asia? That's the extent of my knowledge, Mrs. Nubs. I wish I knew more. I think I need to spend some time with Beeks and Beeks' older sister, to get to learn more about it. But I tell you, Mrs. Nubs, what I'll do is between now and episode 70 here on Two Twins and a Virus, I will dig in on that more and learn about it and learn about the origins and the sort of pop culture nature of it, as well as some of the groups, and I'll report back. How about that?
That sounds good. So it is a huge, huge deal right now. And I personally, too, I think it reflects just kind of the globalism that we're all living through. I think that it's the same reason why the NFL wants to expand to London and the NBA markets itself so strongly to Asia. I think that everywhere is putting all of its resources behind trying to, reach across oceans in order to create more of a global scene. And I think that the labels, what's left of the labels in both finances and power, has gone so much to trying to build this connection between the US and Asia in terms of a market. And so I think it's incredibly intentional. The music is completely geared towards young kids who will become obsessed with it in the same way that they did with the Backstreet Boys and NSYNC and New Kids on the Block before it. And,
these things are all very scientific. I mean, these are very focus grouped and
cyclical. Yeah.
Yeah. I mean, this is all very calculated, even the music itself. Right.
Exactly. Yeah. Perfectly said. So, but yeah, check out some of the tunes. They are quite infectious.
I'm sure there are some. And then the last one I have, unless you had any others, Nubs, is hey, for the next round of 10, are we finally going to get that country episode? I think we can commit to between now and our next Q&A episode 70, that if we make it that far, of course, that we can drop the country album episode. I think I commit to that. Are you comfortable committing to that?
I'm comfortable so long as I have a bottle of Jack Daniels within reach, and we'll just be doing everything I can to get through that episode, including said Jack Daniels. So sure, I'm in.
That shouldn't be a problem. I mean, don't you have one right now?
Yeah. It's Grandpa's old cough medicine. It helps you get through the day.
It's just a little pinch. That's all I got. Nubs, you got any more that anybody submitted or?
Listener Oleander, who just sends in the greatest questions. Right. He sent in one about the Rolling Stones, but we already talked about that. So these are both quick hitters. First, who was the true leader of the Grateful Dead, Jerry Garcia or Bob Weir?
The true leader?
Yeah.
Well, I think the true leader was probably Bobby, because I think if you had to look at sort of the thing that kept it together, and I don't think Bob Weir in any way is a rocket scientist or a merit scholar, but I think he definitely had the foresight and ability to understand, that they did have a brand, that they did have a following that was really intriguing from even a sort of business standpoint. I think he knew, kind of the audience and knew the characteristics of what they needed to accomplish when they went on tour or when they recorded or these type of things. I kind of always felt like he was the one that, albeit probably not in sort of always perfect fashion, but sort of kept the thing going and kept the thing together. And I think that's evidence from the fact that we continue to see it. I mean, Dead and Co just played last week in Detroit with John Mayer, and, Phil Lesh is still in the group. And and I think you got to owe that to Bobby. I mean, Jerry, people forget Jerry, tried to be a solo artist, a little bit. And he went on tour with his band long ago. This is like in the late 70s, early 80s even. And Jerry's voice is certainly the Grateful Dead, and Jerry's performance is the Grateful Dead. But if you're talking about the leader of the group, I think that's actually pretty easy to go with Weir. But you know more about the Dead than I do, Nub. I don't know if you agree with that.
It's a great analysis. I think that, Bobby's the true leader because he didn't have to be the face, and Jerry did. Mm-hmm. Plus the last, to your point, the last 30 years, that's all Bob,
really is.
And some of the other guys. So yeah, Yeah, I love Weir. Even with all of his, just I've been going here, everybody.
You got a chance to the finish about that. Good as hit a
I should have been.
I should hit again. Yeah. That rules.
We almost went like Michael McDonald.
Yeah, I know that.
So that's a good one. Okay, and then here's another one. All right, this is so Oleander.
Right.
Who will outlive the other? Scott Stapp or Travis Meeks?
Who will outlive the other? Oh dear. Well, it's probably Scott Stapp because
they've both been on many a death pool. I would say.
I think Scott Stapp kind of got his shit together, and I'm not sure Travis Meeks has or will, unless
it's just so sad because how friggin' talented.
Oh my God. I mean,
God, brilliant Travis.
Those Meeks, days of the new records, the green, red, yellow are so good.
They're amazing. Yeah.
I think he went a little off the reservation and hasn't really come back.
Yeah, I think so.
But no, I mean, as we talked about on the Creed episode, Scott Stapp's a little bit of a warm, fuzzy, happy ending kind of story with where he is now. And I think he just did a solo record and I think he's clean and sober and a family man and looks back at the time on Creed fondly, but, takes himself less seriously than he once did. And all those, I guess you got to go Meeks, but I don't really know a lot about what Travis Meeks is up to these days, other than I think he went a little nutso and we haven't seen him return to form. Correct? Yeah,
I think that's right.
Although none of them compare to the puddle of mud guy, but he's still alive too, I think.
Wes Scallions or whatever his name is. Yeah. They're on tour. They're coming to Harpo's in Detroit.
There you go.
Yeah.
So he's bounced back. He for a while went really insane-o man, but I think they all do at some point, All right. Well, Nubs, you got anything else? I'm good if you're good.
No, we got some exciting things coming up though, don't we, in the next few weeks? I mean, a couple good album choices that I think people will thoroughly enjoy, and then a couple other surprises. So look forward to pressing on to you.
Maybe a guest or two. Yeah. But no, listen, 60 episodes. We always take these opportunities during the Q&A specials to say thanks. And we really appreciate you guys listening and letting us know what you think and giving us feedback and giving us suggestions. And, we love that. So thank you. Who would have thought we'd make it to 60 episodes? And, we're looking forward to 60 more. But in the meantime, we will be back soon. Next week with episode 61, the Roger Maris episode 61. Should be a beauty. It'll be a Nubs episode according to my calculations. So Nubs, thanks, buddy. And hope your COVID 26 goes away soon.
My bout with the Rona. Yeah.
Yeah. And let's hope your Buckeyes can pull their heads out of their rectums and start playing some football, eh?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to this evening. They play a night game, and not a huge night game, but hey, always look forward to watching the team, man. And who the Jayhawkers have this week?
Oh, we quit playing football.
Yeah, it's basketball season.
We canceled the program. No, actually, we played Duke in football here in about a half hour. So
I'll be tuning in. Fabulous.
Well, yeah, I'll be tuning in for probably a quarter and a half or so. We'll see. But hey, Rock Chalk, OH, and thank you, everybody. Thank you, the listeners, because without you, there would be no Two Twins and a Virus. Two Twins and an Album, whatever you want to call it. And we will see you soon for episode 61. Thanks for tuning in to our episode 60 Q&A. Take care. See you soon.
Two Twins and an Album. Well, that's about it. That's all we have. I hope it wasn't too disappointing. We will see you on tour. Until then, take it easy.